All right, Lakers fans, let's get into the latest rumor mill and what it could mean for our championship hopes. The big story right now is that the Portland Trail Blazers are actively trying to move Jerami Grant and dump his contract. They're reportedly willing to give up assets just to clear that money off the books, because they want flexibility going forward. The Blazers have actually been better than many expected this season, and they are not exactly in full rebuild mode anymore. They look like a team that is a year or two away from truly contending, but they are still in a spot where they don't want to be tied down by a massive contract that could limit their ability to make moves. Grant's deal is one of those contracts that looks like a problem on paper because of the numbers and the length. He's making $32 million this season, $34 million next year, and then a massive $36 million in the final year, which is a player option. It's very likely he will pick that option, which means he could be on the books for at least 2 more seasons after this one. The Lakers, on the other hand, are trying to protect cap space and preserve their ability to chase big moves in the summer. That's the whole strategy, but here's the catch. If you want to trade for Grant, you're going to have to give up something. Portland knows it. They know teams will want compensation if they're going to absorb that kind of money normally. If you were being conservative and playing it safe, you would say no to this trade. You would leave Grant where he is, let Portland deal with the contract, and keep your cap space intact. But the Lakers are in a situation where they want to make a move this season. They are not just thinking about next summer. They are thinking about what they can do right now to try and win a title. If the Lakers can pull off a trade that brings in real talent and helps them compete immediately, then it might be worth it to take on a contract like Grant's, especially if it comes with first-round picks. Now, if Portland is only offering a couple of second-round picks, then no. Keep your cap space and keep your options open. But if the Blazers are willing to part with 2 first-round picks, or even a first and a second, then the Lakers should at least consider it. One thing to keep in mind is that Grant is the type of player the Lakers actually need. He is a legitimate 3-and-D wing who can stretch the floor and guard multiple positions. This season, he has been shooting around 40% from 3, and he's averaging close to 20 points, 4 rebounds, and 3 assists per game. He's doing it efficiently too, shooting about 4 to 4% overall. Those are the numbers of a player who can slide into the Lakers' rotation immediately and contribute in a meaningful way. He can play either forward spot, which gives him flexibility alongside LeBron James and Anthony Davis, and he can fit into the kind of lineup the Lakers want to run. It is interesting to think back to when the Lakers were originally interested in Grant. There were reports that Los Angeles wanted him, but they didn't want to give up the draft capital to get him. The Blazers wanted to get out from under the contract cleanly, and the Lakers were trying to find a way to make it work without sacrificing too much. At the time, the Lakers reportedly were willing to give up a second-round pick, but they did not want to give up a first. Looking back now, Portland might be kicking themselves because they could have made that trade and gotten out from under the contract already. Instead, they're in the position where they need to give up multiple assets just to move the contract. And that's not easy. The reality is that teams often get greedy in these situations. They see a player having a strong season and they think they can extract maximum value. Portland may have held out for a bigger return, and now they are in a position where they might have to settle for less because the contract is still on the books and teams are hesitant to take it. It is a classic case of waiting too long and then having to compromise. The Lakers, meanwhile, have to decide if they want to be the team that steps in and takes the deal. The trade would not be simple, because it would require the Lakers to clear enough salary to match Grant's money, and that means moving other players. One of the reasons the Lakers are trying to trade Jarred Vanderbilt is precisely because they need to clear salary if they want to take on someone like Grant. Vanderbilt's contract is a valuable piece to move because it helps the Lakers get to the necessary salary threshold. There is also the idea of trading for Andrew Wiggins, which is another intriguing option. Some might argue that Wiggins is a better fit than Grant in some ways because he is younger and has a different skill set. But the problem is that if you trade for Wiggins, you likely have to give up an asset rather than receive one. With Grant, you might be able to get a pick back, which makes the trade more appealing in the long run. The Lakers need to get to around $36 million in salary in order to make the numbers work, and that means they would have to move a few contracts. You could imagine a scenario where the Lakers send out players like Gabe Vincent, Max Christie, and Jarred Vanderbilt, and in return receive Grant and a first-round pick. That would give the Lakers an extra first-round pick, and it would clear enough salary to allow them to pursue other moves. Suddenly, the Lakers would have the first-round picks in hand, and they could use that capital to chase someone like Herb Jones or another defensive wing, who can elevate the team immediately. If the Lakers were to pull off a trade like that, it could fundamentally change the roster. It would be a bold move, but it might be the kind of bold move necessary to get back into championship contention. Imagine a lineup with LeBron James, Austin Reeves, Herb Jones, Jerami Grant, and a young center like Wembanyama or another long-term option. It is the type of core that could be built for the future while still having the ability to compete now. And if LeBron were to leave in the future, the Lakers would still have a strong foundation with players who can defend, shoot, and create. That is the key question. Is it worth it to take on a contract like Grant's in order to upgrade the roster now? The answer is not straightforward. It depends on how many assets the Lakers would have to give up and what the rest of the plan looks like. But one thing is clear, the Lakers are not going to sit still and wait. They are going to explore every option to improve this team, because the championship window is still open and the team knows it. Now, when you think about the Lakers' bigger picture, it is not just about one trade or one player. It is about building a roster that can compete in the present while also setting up the future. The NBA is a league where timing is everything, and the Lakers know they are at a point where they have to be aggressive if they want to take advantage of their championship window. If they are going to do something bold, it has to be calculated. That means looking at not just who they can add now, but what the cost is, and what the ripple effect will be over the next couple of seasons. One of the reasons a deal like this could make sense is because of the Lakers' need for a versatile defender who can guard multiple positions. Anthony Davis is still one of the best big men in the league, but the Lakers have struggled at times with wings who can defend the perimeter and also contribute on offense. Jerami Grant brings that. He is a player who can match up with different types of opponents, whether it is a bigger forward or a quicker wing, and he has shown the ability to score efficiently, which is something the Lakers have been missing in certain games. If you add him to the lineup, you are not just adding a shooter. You are adding a defensive anchor on the wing who can take pressure off the rest of the roster. But the trade is not without its risks. The biggest risk is the contract length. To more seasons of that kind of money is a lot to commit to, especially when the Lakers have to think about what they might want to do in the future. What if they want to chase a top free agent? What if they want to build around a younger core? Having a massive contract like Grant's could limit flexibility. That is why it is so important that the Lakers would only make a move like this if it comes with valuable assets like first-round picks. Otherwise, you are paying a premium for a player who might be great now but could become a burden later. There is also the question of what happens if the Lakers do not land a player like Grant and instead choose to remain patient. Staying patient has its own benefits. It keeps cap space open and gives the Lakers the ability to pivot if something bigger becomes available. The Lakers have to consider the possibility of a blockbuster move down the line, and they do not want to be handcuffed by a contract that prevents them from making that leap. But at the same time, patience can also lead to missed opportunities. The NBA moves fast, and the window to add impact players can close quickly. If the Lakers wait too long, they might find themselves in a position where the best available options are no longer there. The idea of using Grant's contract as a stepping stone to something else is also worth considering. If the Lakers can acquire Grant and a pick, they could then use that pick to make another move. This is how teams build momentum. You make one trade that improves the roster and gives you additional assets. Then you use those assets to make another move. It is a chain reaction. And if the Lakers are smart, they can create a situation where they are constantly upgrading the team without sacrificing the core pieces they need to win now. One scenario that has been floated is the Lakers using the picks they acquire to go after someone like Herb Jones. Jones is a defensive specialist who would fit perfectly next to LeBron and Davis. He is the kind of player who can guard the opponent's best wing and still contribute offensively. Adding a player like that could be the missing piece the Lakers need. And if you pair him with Grant, you suddenly have two elite defenders on the perimeter who can also score. That kind of duo would change the identity of the Lakers. They would become a team that can defend at a high level, while also having the firepower to score when needed, of course. None of this matters if the Lakers cannot make the trade work financially. That is why it is crucial that they move the right pieces. Players like Gabe Vincent, Max Christie, and Jard Vanderbilt could be the key to making the salary math work. And if the Lakers are willing to include a player like Rui Hachimura, then they could clear enough space to add Grant and still have room to fill out the roster. The Lakers would have to be strategic, because they cannot just add talent without balancing the books. That is how teams get stuck with dead money and limited flexibility. Another aspect to consider is how this would impact the team's chemistry. The Lakers have a roster that has had its fair share of turnover, and integrating new players mid-season can be a challenge. Chemistry is not something you can measure easily, but it matters a lot. If the Lakers bring in Grant, they have to make sure he fits the culture and the style of play. He is a professional and a good teammate, but the Lakers have to be mindful of how new pieces will impact the existing group. They also have to consider how adding Grant would affect playing time and roles. Would he start? Would he come off the bench? How would that impact players like Austin Reeves or D'Angelo Russell? These are the kinds of questions that matter when you are trying to build a team that can win a championship. But if the Lakers get it right, the upside is huge. Imagine a lineup where you have LeBron James orchestrating the offense, Austin Reeves providing scoring and playmaking, Herb Jones guarding the best wing, Jerami Grant stretching the floor and defending multiple positions, and a young center who can protect the rim. That is the kind of lineup that can compete with anyone. It gives the Lakers the ability to switch defensively, to play smaller lineups when needed, and to still have size inside. It is the kind of roster that can adapt to different playoff matchups, and here is the final thought. Even if the Lakers do not ultimately land Grant, the fact that they are exploring these kinds of moves shows they are not satisfied with the status quo. They are looking to improve, and they understand that winning a championship requires making bold decisions. The Lakers are in a position where they have to be proactive, not reactive. They cannot wait for the perfect opportunity to fall into their lap. They have to create the opportunity, whether that means trading for Grant or using their assets to go after another target. The Lakers have to be willing to take risks if they want to compete at the highest level. Now, the question for Lakers fans is simple. Would you be willing to trade future picks for a player like Jerami Grant? Is he worth the risk? Because the window is still open, but it will not stay open forever. And the Lakers have to decide if they want to make a move now or wait for something else to come along. Before we continue, we ask that you leave a like and subscribe to the channel so you won't miss any exclusive Lakers updates. Moving on. The basketball world woke up buzzing with a rumor that feels larger than the game itself. Kevin Durant arriving to the Lakers surrounded by celebration, spectacle, and the kind of anticipation usually reserved for historic moments. Nothing has been confirmed, nothing signed in ink. Yet the whispers coming out of Los Angeles suggest something dramatic may be unfolding behind closed doors. Sources close to the situation describe an atmosphere closer to a premiere than a routine roster move, with the idea that Durant's presence alone could redefine the franchise's immediate future. The speculation paints a vivid picture. Durant, one of the most gifted scorers the league has ever seen, stepping into purple and gold not quietly, but with flair. The party around his arrival is being interpreted as symbolic, a statement that the Lakers are once again positioning themselves at the center of the basketball universe. Executives, players, and even sponsors are rumored to be aligned around a vision that goes far beyond a single season. Betting on Durant's global appeal and competitive fire around the league, reactions range from disbelief to cautious admiration. Some insiders believe the Lakers see Durant as the final piece to restore their aura, while others question how such a move would reshape chemistry and expectations. Yet that uncertainty is exactly what fuels the rumor. Durant has never been just another star. He is a storyline unto himself, capable of shifting narratives with a single decision. For now, it remains speculation, a tantalizing rumor carried by excitement and imagination. But in a league built on moments and legends, the mere idea of Kevin Durant arriving in Los Angeles with celebration is enough to dominate conversations, ignite debates, and remind everyone why basketball rumors can feel as powerful as reality itself. Stay informed exclusively about Los Angeles Lakers news. Subscribe to our channel and hit the like button to keep receiving daily updates. Also, share your opinion on the news in the comments, as your contribution is crucial for the Lakers. Stay tuned for the next video.